All right, guys, we're back. All right, guys. All right, we're back, guys. So, who says Trump's not a narcissist?
I said Trump is a narcissist.
All right. So okay, and all right, let's go ahead, and explain why you feel that Trump is a narcissist. Go ahead.
Because he looks more inwardly than outwardly. So when he looks at the impact of things, he'll basically say, "Oh, listen," he'll play out the victim or whatever the situation basically is, or I'm doing this for that reason. He likes to he has a pattern to where he is fooling people or he basically is not telling the truth. And then he makes it about himself and how great he is and oh, I'm here to basically save America when really he's just saving rich people. He gaslights individuals and then he basically turns around and has a vengeful streak in him to where he goes after people who perceivably wrong him. This is, at the very least, some of those narcissistic behaviors that I'm basically seeing. I'm not going to get into it because I'm not a psychologist, but yeah, he's definitely more, I would say, self-serving than he is outwardly serving. Especially in these first 100 days here.
All right, who was speaking to him? Who was speaking with you?
Hillary.
Go ahead, Hillary. Talk.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Go. You're up, Hillary.
Sorry. I was saying that I think that I agree with you. I think he's a grandiose narcissist, and the behaviors and the things that he does are not just that they're self-serving, but he's always been able to kind of look into the future and see where things are going to project. He sets himself up for successes in the future. And right now, why else would you be president? Like, think about it. Why else would you accept the job unless you were just like an absolute patriot? Okay, why would you accept the job of being president? Because it will benefit you down the line, right? Why would you take it? It's $150,000 a year. It's not a lot of money. So there's got to be something you're getting out of it. What is he getting out of it? Well, obviously he's setting himself
How
up for
much is a
success,
year? You
himself
said.
and his kids.
How much a year?
I'm sorry, I thought it was 150,000 to be president.
It's
Am I wrong?
400,000.
We need to look that up. That'd be so funny. I hope it's right.
It's 400,000, Hillary.
400,000.
There you go.
400,000.
Still a drop in the bucket, compared to what he'll get out of it.
Alexa, what's the President of the United States salary?
The President of the United States receives an annual salary of 400,000 US dollars.
Okay. But you're right.
Can you think of a single president that did anything that was absolutely for the best interest of America only, did not serve him in any possible way, did not help him in future, endeavors, just straight up for the betterment of America? Can you think of a president or anything like that at all? I can't.
You don't think we had any president that was a good president, a decent person?
No, I didn't say that at all. I think you can absolutely be a good president and still do things that will help yourself in the future. The two don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Well, that's with any job. Okay,
You're right.
if I'm a trash collector, I'm gonna do things to help myself in the future. If I find something out there, that's really nice, I'll probably call my family up. Hey, come get this truck. Get the truck. Someone threw this out. Whatever. I don't know. It's antique or whatever or whatever. I mean, it's just to say that someone's not trying to advance in their job and their career, whatever that may look like. I just think I don't know if that's your expectations. I don't know. I'm not buying it, Hillary. That's
No,
all.
no, that's not my expectations. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I understand why he's doing what he's doing, but his actions need to also be hand in hand with the betterment of America. There is a way that you can do things to set yourself up for success and for future income, and also do the right thing by America.
Absolutely, guys. Hey, guys, you're listening to the podcast. Hillary, Theory, I want to talk to you also. Going back and forth. If you haven't downloaded the podcast, the link's up top. Download the podcast. Debate the News is a podcast. You guys can listen to yourselves the following day. Theory, what's going on in Canada with that election? Where are we?
Man, listen, Carney, the Liberal Party took over. Really, I think they are going to win. They've been projected to win the election. This was a few hours ago. I haven't looked at it since, but they had a significant lead. I went to the polls and I slotted my vote in. I voted Liberal. I think the sentiment here of what Trump basically did over the last few months and topped it off with today's comments really galvanized the country. I think we had already made our decision, but just today, his words and his tweet that he sent out again, wanting to annex us and turn us into the 51st state and hoping that we basically vote conservative, really kind of cemented the win here for the Liberal Party in Canada. So that is, in a nutshell, what's happening. We are going to continue with the current Prime Minister that was put into place to replace or take over for Justin Trudeau. And so, big turn of events here because before the Trump tariffs, the annexation talk, the Conservative Party had a lead. They were looking to win in a landslide victory, and ever since Trump started in with those threats, it's swung the other way for the Liberals, and so that's the state of affairs here in Canada.
Our voter turnout increased in our advanced polling, Jonathan. We've never seen a turnout, and I did a conference this weekend, at a women's voting conference, but turnout numbers increased just because of this whole Trump thing.
And I was gonna vote conservative, and I switched to liberal. I gave Carney a fair chance. I looked at his platform, his mandate, what he was going to basically do. I think, in essence, what swung my vote is that Carney used to work with the UK bank, and he has a lot of relationships from a financial district standpoint with Europeans, which we're going to basically need, as he's already started to forge those relationships so that we can have a contingency plan in terms of our trade. We're going to go through a bump in the road or, a lot of hardship, but we'll figure it out and we'll establish alternative trade partners so that we can better protect ourselves from the relationship that is no longer with the United States. So that's in essence why I voted for him in the end. So it wasn't about a party thing. It was more of he's the right man for the job for the time being, or at least I'm hoping so.
So, what about is a majority or minority government?
Oh, I think it'll be a majority government. I didn't look into those numbers, but it was a liberal wave.
Yeah, we're still counting votes because the other side of our country's three hours behind. So we're still counting votes to see, if it's going to be majority or
Yeah, but
minority.
British Columbia is liberal. And I think where he has a chance, or conservatives have a chance, would be in Alberta, but someone who's more or less a swing voter. I went liberal, and I think a lot of folks in my circle have gone liberal. But again, we don't know who's going to vote where.
Yeah, we encourage, I know women turn out, but a lot of women are turning out in the advance. And that's what our objective was this weekend. If a lot of women turn out, even if they're in Alberta, a lot will sway to liberals because of rights being taken away. If we just approved 18 months maternity parental leave for the Liberal Party right before the elections for employment insurance if someone goes on mat leave. So we actually increased it for women. So having someone like conservative being powered would mean losing those things.
Absolutely. Last time we voted for a conservative here in Alberta, a lot of our services, social services, things of that sort, got cut off as part of budget cuts. And I did not want the same thing happening. Polyev had a mandate to really kind of cut spending and cut some of those services. We want as little disruption as possible, and we want someone that's going to maintain that, those level of services. So that was another reason here. So I think a lot of folks are just continue on with the liberal wave, and that the conservative had a shot. I mean, until Trump meddled.
So, um, so the conservatives have a shot. So Trump pretty much won this election for the liberals, correct?
That's exactly what happened. Ever since, and if you look back to the day in the polls and you pinpoint that start of the talk about when he started calling Governor Trudeau, and then it escalated. It should be our 51st state, which started off as a joke. But when he started repeating it, you could see those polling numbers change. I don't think that that's what basically got Justin Trudeau out, because he was already not favored within the Liberal Party, but he was performing so badly that the Liberal Party was in shambles, and they had no hope of winning. The only hope that they had was to actually replace him with a new
How
prime
long was
minister.
Trudeau? How long was Trudeau in power?
He was in power, I think, what was it, 8 years, Dance Hall, something like that. Have to double check, but yeah, he ran 2 terms, and on his third term, yeah, it just really did not go all that well. So he made it most of the way in, but if he had campaigned to win again, it would have gone left. And so he got replaced, and as he was basically getting replaced, or in the process of getting replaced, in the timeline, that's when Trump began with his annexation, 51st state talks. No respect for Trudeau whatsoever. Carney came in, handled that dialogue a lot better with Trump. I think one of the things that took place was Carney did not engage Trump whatsoever, and basically sent a message that there will be no communication and no discussions until we are recognized as a sovereignty. That was very popular amongst us as Canadians. And yeah, from there, he gained popularity, swung the outlay of the election to where folks were moving away from the Conservative Party because of the ties, closer ties with Trump, especially with Alberta. Daniel Smith flying into Florida to, try to kiss the ring, so to speak. That did not fall well with Canadians. Polyev, which is the conservative leader, was kind of roped into that a little bit and seemed to try to negotiate with Trump, or not really stand as strongly as Carney was. And as much as he tried to recover from that, and they had a great campaign, yeah, just wasn't enough. I think the climate was completely sabotaged by Trump's actions. So that's what happened in a nutshell.
Good information.
And we were ready for that change. Canadians were tired. I mean, if you look at before the Trump annexation talk, the climate for the country was like, we are tired of liberals. We don't want the Liberal Party anymore. We're ready for change. We're on board. Let's get Carney going. Let's get Polyev going. We like the way that he's challenging Trudeau. His optics were fantastic. I thought that it was a shoe in, a foregone conclusion. And then Trump opened his mouth. And that's as in a few words, that's what I can say. And he swung the election completely. It was so bad. I expect Polyev and the Conservative Party in Canada to actually make a statement at some point or time, or at least come out in an interview and say, "Hey, look, Trump fucked it up for us." And that's the power of the Donald.
So
And
Donald Trump effectively, guys. Let's listen. Donald Trump really making statements, interfere with another country's election, and he actually, believe it or not, was on the ballot of sorts because people were voting against him. Correct.
yeah, we were looking at this and going, we tried our best to separate. I did, at least for my part, do my best to separate the Conservative Party away from the Republican Party. Our conservative party here walks more along the lines of a centrist party, but they do cut out a lot of services. Was talk of privatizing healthcare, which we don't want as Canadians. But yeah, it just really made folks really look at the Conservative Party a lot more closely. Some folks decided, hey, there's too close of a correlation. We don't want that. We'll continue on with liberals. And the main thing here to take away here, Jonathan, is this is a pre-warning for what's going to happen if things continue that way for the primaries.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. Anyone else wants to jump in on this? Dan Saul, are you there? Now, I have a question for you guys, Theory and Dan Saul. Up north, you guys have, wow, I don't want to call them Eskimos. Um, what are they called now? But the people that live up north in that village up north.
Yeah, I still call them Eskimos, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, they changed the words to try to make things politically correct in the North Pole. But no, that's more of in the North Pole. We have indigenous people just like you would.
No, 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 this is Canada, bro.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Solutions.
Hillary, you were saying?
Aleutians from Alaska and Canada and the Yukon area.
Yeah, that's probably it. You'll have to excuse
No,
me.
that's not it.
No? And the point?
They have those tattoos on their face and stuff like that. The women.
Yeah, I actually was seeing a woman that was indigenous that had tattoos on her face. It was actually quite interesting. But it was tribal. It was 3 lines underneath one of her lips. Professor at the University of Alberta, English Lit.
Are you talking about the Wakandans?
No, not the Wakanda.
No, who's
No,
that?
no, no.
Mickey, get out of here, Mickey.
My bad.
Hey, that's okay. That was funny. I was looking for T'Challa all of a sudden here.
Mickey, why do you think people
Is it
use Trump?
Inuit, Jonathan? Inuit? How do you
Yeah, I knew it.
pronounce
Yeah, I
that?
knew it. Yeah, I knew it. Yep, yep, I knew it.
Okay.
Yeah. Mickey, why are these Trump supporters getting so like they don't want you to say criticize them at all?
Um, Honestly, I think that because I've thought about this for a long time from when he was, the Republican nominee and he kind of alluded to his penis size on stage. Do y'all remember that? Um,
Yep.
and I just thought that he would not be taken seriously as a candidate at all. And to my surprise, what I saw was that people kind of took it tongue in cheek. And it was insane to witness because I remember even in the office, there was a senior client who was in her 80s, inherited wealth, very genteel lady, right? One of the ladies who lunch is what I call them, right? High society, well over worth 10 million. And I remember listening to her and she casually said, "Oh dear, did you see the Donald last night?" And I was like, "The Donald?" And she said, "Oh my, isn't he just a hoot?" And I was thinking, "A hoot? He's a hoot?" So it was like, I get it. He was, I guess, what certain people consider charming in a sense, or that whole alpha male thing, where I don't know. So I don't know if like my personal theory is that after Barack Obama was elected and he didn't destroy the country and the country didn't turn ghetto, he actually ended up being a pretty good president. That people in this country kind of freaked out, so they elected the antithesis to Barack Obama Donald Trump is not articulate, right? All of a sudden, it's a bad thing to be articulate and well spoken because that means that you are, lying to people. Um, he also didn't have a very good personal reputation because to be too, clean cut is now a bad thing, right? So I think that he's embraced, honestly, and I'm not a psychologist because he evokes some kind of, you know, I wish I could be like that kind of thing. People wish they could use bad language and bad behavior and I guess still be praised for it. Because otherwise, I have no freaking idea. And maybe Barack Obama was just too smooth, too clean for people to really aspire to be. So Donald Trump, I guess they see like, oh, he's done some bad stuff, but he loves this country, which has never been indicated a day in his life for him running for office at all. They hated him in New York because he never paid his bills. He would just keep people, like in lawsuits, which he's very good at, which is kind of a tactic he's using now. So that's a long answer, Jonathan, but I've thought about that so much. That's honestly the only thing I can think of. When I hear veterans defending him, I'm like, he's bone spurs. His dad paid to have him not even enter, like go into the military. Like, huh? We admire that kind of crap now? It makes no sense. So that's all I can see. They want to grab coochies and have a hot wife and be a billionaire, I guess.
There are very specific things that activate in your brain that release the neurochemicals that make you feel attracted to something. Novelty is one of the biggest ones. So, you know how you'll get played out on a certain show after you've watched it for a while? No matter how much you like it, you need something else there. So then they introduce a new character that's, oh, this shakes it all up. That's exactly what happens with the pattern when you look at presidents and like Ronald Reagan, and then I mean looked like super super conservative and then liberal and super, and it's the reason why is because we need that novelty. We think that we're going to get a change with something completely different from the last thing we had, but the truth of the matter is 4 years is really not enough time to set up and to complete some of these programs that one president puts into action. Let's make this change, but then the very next one comes in and undoes it all. What the hell's the point?
And that's why I think that the American system is effectively broken because it's dog eat dog kind of situation. When Trump came in on his first term and completely destroyed everything that Obama put together, it's like, wow, you have to rebuild all of it now because in a 4 year span, and then you get another president that comes in, so there's no continuity, for the interest of the American people. It's unfortunate to see, but that's why I kind of look at America sometimes as being that disturber because they'll go into a country, create a mess, and then they'll say, "Oh, well, that wasn't us." But yes, it was you. It just wasn't your administration, and it's highly frustrating to deal with. And so, as Canadians, when we're looking at everything that's gone on, and why we're looking into recreating our trading alliances, so on and so forth, we're going to remember that this is a political arena that really gives the president too many, too many liberties to enact whatever policies that they want, regardless of the detriment that it will cause to its neighbors, to its own people, so on and so forth. And Mark Carney said it best: America has become an unreliable trading partner, and that speaks volumes to where the current state sits.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, there was American exceptionalism, which, as an American, I've certainly debated from that point. But now it's like we're dismantling all of the things that made us great, in my consideration. Like, the Trump administration revoked a lot of international students' visas. And then, literally, almost like a week later, they put them back in place. So, this kind of whiplash governance, I'm not sure why that's so appealing to people, but you're right. The 4 years, maybe that's not enough, but it seemed to have worked until we became so, I don't know. It's just like ever since the Tea Party, But I guess if we're looking at modern politics, right, like you had the days of Tammany Hall, you had the days when, local mafias ran. And then, of course, we forget about, the Civil War, where you basically had the entire nation split into two when brothers fighting brothers, and some states believing in the right to slavery and some states not. So I guess it hasn't been the absolute worst under the Trump administration, but it's pretty bad if I have to go all the way back to the Civil War to remind myself that, yes, the country has been this divided and even more. You know, no modern president has ever had to make me be grateful that it's not the Civil War again.
Maybe if we want real change, we need to go for somebody much, much younger, because these really old white guys just don't seem to be able to kick it. I don't know. Just a thought. The guy, I mean, look at the ages of everyone who signed the Declaration of Independence, who set, the Constitution and the rules in place in the first place for this government. Go check their ages at the time of the signing. You'll be shocked.
Well, there's something that took place, like in I would say in Black America. My brother was talking about this, and he's a teacher in Atlanta. He's basically talking about, like if you look at the rap history, so on and so forth, mumble rap became a thing in the South. I don't know if it's still going on or not, but my brother said made a statement, and he basically said he went to Morehouse University. And he said, you know what? It seems like it's cool now to being dumb. I'm a teacher in these schools, and these kids are like being dumb is the new thing. It's cool. You don't want to show off that you're intelligent, right? And now that seems to have permeated itself into the White House, where that president, when Trump first came in, being formal and having etiquette and decorum, so on and so forth, and looking at the greater good and maintaining those American values, just went out the door in that first term with Trump. So I think that's when that tide started to basically turn, because at least the decorum and the values and the common thread, regardless of political party, were somewhat maintained and made that 4 year kind of 8 year span system basically work. But when Trump came in and just started to dumb down politics, unfortunately, and there's so many intelligent individuals in America, but unfortunately, there's individuals that don't relate more to Trump because he's just not as articulate, it's not as well spoken, or whatever the situation basically is. And so that mumble rap, hey, it's cool to be dumb, seems to basically be working across some enough of a segment of America, to where now you have lost complete lack of continuity, and you do have that separation between, hey, let's do what's logical and what's right. Let's operate from a place of, intelligence, so on and so forth, and the best interest. Where there's the other side that, just really doesn't really look to explore too much beyond of what they're seeing in the conservative media. So I'll just land with that. And I think that that's the main problem right now. And it's unfortunate because we watched this north of the border and we're going, what happened? What is going on in the last 12 years? What is really going on? And when you rolled out the candidates that you did, because Biden didn't prepare, or at least didn't have a handover plan, once he figured out that he wasn't going to run because he wasn't going to basically beat Trump in the state that he was in, that just was poorly executed, unfortunately. And Kamala wasn't strong enough, favorable enough, or whatever the situation may be, to basically be the right representative, for the Democratic Party. And now you just have this situation. So, yeah, it's really unfortunate, but I think come primary time, it's going to be a blue wave, because there's a lot of people that were probably on the fence and thought that, hey, let's vote with the economy, let's make things better. But because Trump has really turned his back on his campaign promises, you're just like you had a red wave. All the Republicans had to do was drive the damn car, and now he's crashing it over and over, and like people are made out of a crash dummy. And now it's going to be a blue wave come primary, and I think it's going to continue on until Trump gets out of office. However he winds up getting out of office, that's a whole nother question.
Yeah, this first 100 days it's been shit. I'm sorry. Um, especially when we talk about the Canadian election. Yeah, the first 100 days has been shit. So
Can I bring up something for you that's interesting and a whole nother perspective that the Americans didn't realize what they did when you're done?
go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Because the Jamaican thing. So I was saying, you know how Trump withdrew out of the UN human rights thing. I don't know the technical words for it. Miki could probably fill that in. But what happened now? There are certain reggae artists and dancehall artists that were banned from America because in their lyrics it excited violence or talked about gay people being shot and so forth, like Buja Banton, right? So when Trump withdrew from the human rights thing, what it allowed is a lot of artists who are Jamaican to get their US visas for like 5 years, 10 years, the ones that were previously banned. So removing the out of the human rights allowed for a lot of things to be overturned. And that was one of the things. So actually, there's a lot of immigrants who are actually getting visas the legal way, but they were like convicted killers, but yeah, they were convicted drug dealers. They were people who were in jail in Jamaica and now are having the freedom to come in your country as an artist. So I just wanted to put it out there that people don't realize just you just leaving the human rights for United Nations, what other doors were open.
Wow. Yeah, the stage is open, guys. Casual conversation, no matter what it is. Feel free to jump in. I think Makita is asleep. Makita, you there?
I'm here.
What about
I
Trump's
don't
first 100 days?
I don't really have anything to say tonight. It's been a long day.
Hugs.
All right, no problem. I thought the Canadians would be all over it because they won the election. That's why we're keeping it open, and they're sitting here talking and not really talking. I really thought the Canadians like, hey, this is just trying to educate the Americans that's listening about what's going on. You guys are like, oh, okay.
I did. I told you about Jamaicans. You guys are letting a bunch of convicted criminals come in your country with long term visas. But the rednecks are not up. I guess they're sleeping. Can't scare them.
I have a
So that's just a
leftover. Oh,
contradiction.
thank you for that dance hall because
Oh, you were listening? Okay, because I don't know the technical things that happen, but basically all those human rights grounds to protect the gays and people and so forth were removed. So people got their free visas. 10 Jamaican artists. If you guys know Vibes Cartel, he was a convicted killer. Good luck.
Oh my goodness. Is that why he's on everybody's
Yeah, and now
list?
he's on a tour and he says he wants to live in Florida. Okay? Before he had no
Well, that's where
Whoa.
all
visa.
the good criminals go to retire.
True. He had no visa for like he was in jail for a portion, but before he went to jail, he had no US visa. He lost it. Also, Busy Signal lost it. Buja Banton had lost theirs. Bunty Killer had lost theirs. These men had over 10 years with no US visa, but thanks to Trump, they all got it now.
Oh my goodness. Well, there you go.
This country is becoming a pay to play kind of a party.
Yes.
Exactly, because that's what I was saying. If they're all hung up on these convicted criminals, convicted ex gang members, blah 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 blah. Send them to El Salvador, but then you're giving visas for 10 years to people who are paying for it.
Oh my God. I had a leftover dateline, Jonathan, to sum up the 100 years. Justice Department halts funds for programs for victims of hate crimes,
Just do it all. Do it all. Take your time.
child abuse, school violence. So the DO, did y'all hear about this? I must have
Oh, I
missed
haven't
it.
heard anything about that at all. Can you go into a little bit more detail about it?
Yeah, because I just like screenshot throughout the day that I see for the dateline, but the DOJ just halted 365 federal grant programs, including funds for hate crime victims in the Emmett Till Cold Case Initiative. They're gutting protections for vulnerable and erasing justice in real time. Isn't that crazy? So the organizations that lost funding have 30 days to appeal the decision. I just really hate these people at this point. I really do. Jesus. It's just more
Disgusting. They're
funding.
taking rights. More rights gone.
They are disgusting.
Mm-mm.
Like, ugh. It's just, and the Department of Education removes new student loan forgiveness tracker for some borrowers. So they're basically going to leave borrowers with less options to determine how much they actually owe. So why would they do this, y'all? Like why would you have people going in that you're paying to now reverse things that have
This
been on
is,
these
sorry, Russian
websites?
spy.
Yeah, it's just diabolical. It's like why are you just making things harder for
There's no
people?
other explanation to this. Like, really and truly. Like, who can explain this? Anybody up who can explain?
I haven't been able to understand things when it comes to politics in a while. I mean, honestly, it used to be pretty. Okay, I say it would be pretty cut and dry because I guess as a kid I didn't have much more understanding, you know. Um, and now that I am exposed to a whole lot more with the internet and everything else, we're exposed to so much more than we had knowledge of previously. So I might be wrong in saying this, but I feel like all they're doing is juggling things and throwing everything up in the air, being like, "Look, look, 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 look," while they're quickly playing the full Monty down here, like shuffling everything up so we can't see what's under each cup, and it just feels like one of those things where afterwards you're like, "I know I just got scammed somehow. I just don't know how, but I know for a fact that something just went awry," and I felt like that for the last probably 20 years.
Yeah, I'm an American that's well aware of what this country does, and so that I can sleep at night, right? I'm also well aware of someone who looks at international, you know, some international politics in the economy, just how bad it is in other places, that I, as an American who grew up solidly middle class, really can't conceive of some of the hardships, not only of people who grew up struggling or are struggling in this country, but it's just unfathomable to me as an American when I hear about, like, microloans in India. Loans of as little as $50 can help, someone create a business and save their life and feed their families, right? And meanwhile I spend $50 on lunch randomly, being greedy and, you know, getting a smoothie to take with me on the way home. And but it's like this new version of this tweeting and the social media and politicians is celebrities, and even Donald Trump, which I said in the Dayline today, is saying that I run the world. We're asking for it. We're like the Titanic at this point. I'm just,
You said that today?
yeah, he did. I said that in
Oh
my
my
Dayline. He
God.
gave an
I can't
interview.
keep up with this man.
Yeah, he said this. He said, I run the country and I run the world. I'm like, well, that's it. That's that.
That's it.
That seems to
I
be a
wonder if they
common
heard him.
thread of
Yep.
thought for all tyrannist
I
leaders.
wonder if they heard him today because they never heard the king and the other stuff in the past. I
Hmm.
wonder if they heard him today.
Well,
Man, why aren't
Jesus
they
is
up?
going to get us now. That's it. That's what, didn't the Titanic say? Not even God can stop you. Okay, well, alrighty then. We'll
He's
see.
so
That's
Christian
that's
like,
that's
huh?
it. You got the
He can't
attention of
even
the Lord. That's it. It's
he
a
can't
wrap.
he can't even run Putin.
Right. It's just
Hey,
and
we don't know what goes on in their bedroom, okay? Don't speculate.
And y'all, the way that this man brags on everything, like, he's easily manipulated. All they have to do is cater to his ego. So I remember The Atlantic actually has some pretty, hard hitting articles, and I follow them on IG. And I remember Trump was tweeting about that he was going to meet with the editor of The Atlantic. So I was like, oh, here we go. So they made him look like a complete fool, and he's too stupid to even realize it. That was a terrible thing to report and goad him into saying. Like, come on. You just put a target on the entire country, bro. It's just an idiot, y'all. I run the world. You don't run shit. Where is Melania? You need to run Melania while people worried about Michelle Obama.
No,
Where
we haven't
is your
even seen
wife?
her. I haven't seen it. I hope she's alive. Like, I haven't seen her in months. When's the last time we saw her? At that thing, right? When you guys
Well, she went to
Like,
the Pope's funeral because y'all saw him falling asleep at
oh,
the
she
Pope's
did.
funeral, and she was, prodding him awake.
You
Yeah,
sure it's not the lookalike? Because she has the lookalike that's not her
girl,
too.
you right. She did have the little veil
When
on
she's
her
wearing
face.
sunglasses and stuff, it's the lookalike. Yeah, she has the lookalike because the face is kind of off in the lookalike. This is too much. I thought I was caught up in my news. I'm so not. Oh boy.
She like gave him a hug or something the other day, and they like reported it as news, and I'm like, this is so sad that this is like First Lady gives President a hug. Hasn't
It's just
happened in
to
years.
this day the Justin meme is still popular when she looks in Justin Trudeau's eyes. So I think that still bugs him. People like putting it under his post still. I was like, oh, this is still cool. You guys didn't like Justin, but you like this meme.
Jonathan, you around? I don't know if he's around, but he was asking earlier why I thought Trump was a narcissist. And that comment that he runs America and he runs the world is another example.
This man's crazy. He better be careful.
I hope China heard that today and going, oh, yeah?
I gotta go look at the memes they made today. Their memes are killing me.
Shoot, they have more memes out. Where are you finding those memes? How do you find them?
On Twitter and on TikTok. They're
And
showing
what
all they did last week. They showed all the designer bags, how much they really cost. Because no matter how people are like, oh, we make the leather in France and we do the stitching in Switzerland, it's all really coming from China. They just give them the materials and they actually do it in China. So China is saying like the bag you pay 30,000 for, we assemble it for $200, and they show you everything on how they do it, how it's made, and everything, and how much the employees get paid to do it. It's crazy. So
what
now people are like thinking about boycotting certain designers because they're realizing they're getting robbed.
people are getting robbed left, right, and center, man. Like you're paying $70,000 for a bag, I heard, and it's costing you what, like 1,000 maximum for the unit. So you're making all of that margin. It's just that's
Right?
why
Like,
we
how
keep.
greedy can you be? Like, you need to make something that's $200 to put together and make it 30 something thousand. That's nuts,
I'm in the wrong business.
right? That's why designers. I never knew designers. Well, I know they make money, but that was like I didn't know the margin was so wide. Because I know a lot of hard work goes into producing products. It's not so easy. But it makes sense though because like China says, who else can produce on the scale they produce? So you have to do business with them because they go work faster, they have more people, and they'll be able to produce more of your product.
I'm telling you right now, this is not going to end well. The thing is, how is this going to flip? Where is this going? Because Mikey said the Titanic. I thought that was an unbelievable analogy, and I'm not laughing. I don't laugh to basically make fun of. I laugh because I'm just like incredulous as to where this is going to go, and I laugh because I'm just like, yeah, I'm in shock and disbelief at where is this going to land.
If Miki, is people really just afraid? Like, why can't the Democrats do anything? Or I heard a comment that they have to wait until your, what's it called, primaries or whatever. Like, why can't something be done? Is everyone really afraid?
I don't know. I don't think the Dems are afraid. I think that this is just my opinion. Um, there's just a lot of unusual support for Donald Trump. It's actually the Republicans that are afraid. So no one really
Um,
dares to disagree with him. They have the majority in the House, they have the majority in the Senate. And what we found is that the Supreme Court is surprisingly supporting a lot of what is going on in the White House. Like when they gave the president full immunity, that literally went against the Constitution, that went against the founding
yeah.
fathers. Um, Allowing him to engage in these tariffs like this, like Congress has the power of the purse. Donald Trump cutting funding and aid for a lot of these federal agencies is actually illegal. Like the executive order against birthright citizenship, that doesn't mean anything because an executive order can't reverse birthright citizenship. So this is a little unusual. A lot of what he's doing is just unprecedented. Like, no president has ever done these things before and not in a good way. It's almost like he tested the waters during his first administration, and now that he knows exactly how far he can go without being unchecked, it's actually a little
Ah,
frightening behind the scenes. All the Democrats can do at this point is try to raise awareness. But if you look at like the Republican town halls and now how Trump is taking care of that for his core 40%, it's like, oh, well, they are, bringing in these, paid Democratic people. So when you have an American president that's tweeting and supporting conspiracy theories,
that's
like Marjorie Taylor
crazy.
Greene. It's insane. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, as an elected Republican, literally was saying that the Democrats initiated the last hurricane because it was election time, voting time. Yes, like I have to go and look at Twitter, and I follow True Social myself because that's how bad it is. Some of these things are so bad that even today, I still don't believe them. So I literally set up a True Social, y'all, a fake account just to go and confirm and fact check some of the things that they attribute to
Oh, so
Trump
you
because
get
I'm
to see
like,
what? Oh,
yeah, I'm
wow,
like,
yeah.
surely,
Is it really
surely,
wild? You
oh,
can
it's
like, how's
really
it looking
wild.
there?
You have to go and look and see,
Like a
like,
Trojan horse thing, right?
he attacks everyone, he attacks everything. The unhinged rants that make absolutely no sense, like when he said, "Happy Easter," and Biden sucked and this and this and that. Like it's like a madman at the helm. And the fact that this is normalized is just terrifying for me because this has damaged our national reputation. No one wants to deal with this. Like no one wants to deal with this. This is it's just going to have far-reaching implications. So yeah, this is it. You would be hard pressed to find any U.S. president that has even remotely acted in the manner that he has done in such a public manner ever in our history. Like
And so
he's
this is the thing.
targeting, yeah,
Bill
he's
Clinton was
targeting
just a
everybody.
blow job. And so we look at it, the world's like, well, you guys impeach somebody for a blow job. You know, what's going on here? That's how we look at it. It's like weird.
Yeah, with Clinton, and it's just I don't even understand how he got in office. How we've come so far as a country when Republicans used to stand for the educated, the constitutionalists, the elitists, right? The Democrats were the party of the liberal, the party of minorities, the party of women's rights and feminism and LGBTQ. And now look at it. Like it still astounds me, y'all, that somebody such as Donald Trump, who's been accused of lusting after children and Epstein ties and the bankruptcies and the double merit, all of the three baby mamas and the marriages and almost 30 allegations of sexual assault, is a Republican president for the second time now. Like the party is
Yeah.
just
Weird.
gone. The party is just, my God. I know Reagan is turning over in his grave. This is not the Republican Party. This is insane. How far, how far the mighty have fallen. And they're
And
anti-intellectualism. They are anti-academia when the Republicans used to have, more of the educated votership. And it's just completely switched. Nobody's talking about that. They're like, oh, well, we got 20% of black men. Yeah, but you're also losing the white suburban educated women. It's not good. It's not a good look for them at all.
well, if you remember, Trump was a Democrat initially, and then he ran as a Republican. Like he tried to make a few runs. But what I found interesting in his first term was that the Republicans were standing up to him. They were, there was definitely kind of an attack, but kind of like they were calling him out on what his policies were. He was looking really dumb, But for some reason, he tapped into that demographic of the forgotten Americans, right? The, middle of the road country American that, maybe is that blue collar worker or whatever the situation basically may be. And I don't want to, kind of segregate opinions, but it is what it is. There's a contingency of voters that are susceptible and relate to him because he just doesn't sound like your usual politician. And that kind of created that movement. And then when he ran against Hillary Clinton, he released those emails or had that in play 2 days prior to the election. Turned out to be a big scandal. And the most shocking moment that I had, aside from 911, was watching that man win the election over Hillary Clinton. That was to me like everybody was glued to their TV, like in shock and disbelief that this man basically came in. I think his first term, he had no idea what the hell was basically going on. And so he had time to think about it. And now it's just disruptive. The main difference between his first term, and this term now, is that he was so petty and he was attacking every individual, like the NFL, calling out Kaepernick, Twitter, left, right, and center. And as damaging as it wasn't as, damaging as the stuff that he's doing now because he's using that same kind of approach, but really disrupting the market forces as they are with each and every single tweet. And it's very dangerous in the way that we're looking at this. There's really no bottom to this at this point in time. And the question is, who will stand up to him? Like Dance Hall had mentioned, I'll land with that.
Yeah, I like how you said that it's bottomless. And when I think about ashamedly, since I was a Republican, not even a Obama reporting voting Republican, because that's just how much I felt. I felt that as my grandfather used to tell us, the Dems keep everybody lazy. They're like a kid with daddy's credit card, right? The Dems' solution to a problem was just to throw money at it. Republicans were fiscally conservative, which I agree with fundamentally, but Trump isn't even a fiscally conservative Republican president. And you're right about him being the Democrat. That's when he attacked the Central Park Five, which is also, concerning to me. And he's never apologized to this day. And the the thing that's just so crazy is, like not only just the party switch, it's just Jesus, y'all. It's just a lot. The Republicans really set this up. We have to give it to Mitch McConnell, who is an absolute demon. Because remember when there was a year left in Obama's term and they would not let him consider Merrick Garland for the Supreme Court? And what the Republicans told him at the time was that they wanted the American people to make that decision since it was so close to an election. But yet, when RBJ passed away. RBG, is it RBG? RBG. And she should have sat her ass down during Obama's term. Do you remember how quickly they appointed Sarah, was that Sarah Coney Barrett at that time? Within like a month. When the Republicans kept Barack Obama from doing so much, we should have known that they were gearing up for some bullshit. So it's just kind of culminated in this, this executive order, fiend that we have now, attempting to dismantle birthright citizenship via executive order and talking about the reason for it was, the freed slaves. It's just this country has changed fundamentally and people don't even realize it because they're booty clapping and flag waving for somebody who has literally been accused of selling the country out for $5. Um, and wants to buy Greenland because, you know, he has a business there and probably doesn't want to pay the taxes. I just, I never realized people were so damn stupid until this man was elected in office. I swear to God. I swear to God. I would have been happily remaining ignorant of that fact before Donald Trump got elected. If you even listen to his most ardent supporter, I dare y'all, we will cash out $100. Where is there an articulate, unemotional Trump supporter that is actually well informed about what the man is doing? You can't even find one. Listen to them. They're all over the place. And it just like it's just sad, y'all. Republicans going out real bad. Just real bad. I am so sorry, Colin Powell. You should have ran with Condoleezza and then we wouldn't have had to deal with all of this.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that was executed too, because I don't know if anyone remembers seeing The Great Hack. It's that documentary movie that's on Netflix where they were looking at the Cambridge analytics and Facebook analytics that Trump leveraged during his first campaign to really kind of get a sense of the target voters that he wanted to basically go after, to see who would be more likely to vote for him, so on and so forth. So, yes, the Republican Party and Mitch McConnell were doing some shady stuff, but I don't think that they anticipated that this conspiracy, like MAGA movement would take on a form of its own. And now they've lost complete control of their party, so to speak. It's unrecognizable. And yeah, I thought that they were gonna chill out a little bit, and just kind of just say, "Hey, let's just ride this one on home." But they're so scandalous and have lost so much control that I don't I'm not sure if this is they're going to be able to go back. It'll be very interesting because this is going to be the primaries along with the next election are really going to tell the story as to where America is going to go, because from an international standpoint, whatever is basically left of the country at that point in time is going to have to be rebuilt with assurances that this is not going to happen again. And I think that Ozzie Newsom out of California, and the governor there, has the right idea by suing, the Trump administration to regain control of the tariffs administration within the House of Commons, or the legislative body, to where Congress is responsible for setting the tariffs, not the president, where at least there's some level of deliberation, governance, so on and so forth. So there's a lot to be fixed up here. So, but though that the Great Hack, if you haven't watched it, such a great insight in terms of how the Trump campaign back 12 years ago, just or 8 years ago, just did from a marketing standpoint. I have to give kudos to that, because that was actually quite impressive in how detailed they were from an analytics standpoint to target those voters and that audience. I just didn't anticipate that movement taking up a hold of the way that it did with the Republican Party. I'll land with that.
Yeah, agreed. Good night, y'all. Speaking of being a good former conservative, time to go to sleep and get up and go to work, since this man won't let a whole bunch of people retire early because he's intent on destroying the market.
Good night. I think I'm going to turn into
First world problems. Good night.
madness. Good night, too. Everybody have a great night. I'm going to go celebrate liberals win in the morning. I don't have to worry about my job, thank God.
Excellent.
But,
Congrats. Yeah, celebration is on hand. Go Canada.
yes, go Canada. Good night.
Cancel.
Oh, I guess the floor is open. All right, everyone's zing out. I'm out west here, so it's still only 11:30 my time. I think I may exit too. Then, if that's the case, I'm gonna finish off You season 5 with Sean Paget. Really good series. If you guys haven't caught on to it.
Hi, Theory. Nice to hear from you again.
Always a pleasure.
You guys hear us over on Chatter? Hello. Can you up? Everybody's checking in for the night. Hello. Chatter.
Hey, yeah, I'm here on Chatter, but it looks like everyone either went to sleep.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I was just checking to see if you guys could hear us. You guys could not hear us on the last episode, so
Are you on Clubhouse?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like everybody's checking in for the night.
Yeah, if there's anyone on Clubhouse who wants to speak, go ahead. But right now it's pretty quiet over here.
It looks like Ken and Tyson is the moderator with Jonathan on Clubhouse.
That's correct. It's been quiet over here this evening.
Wonder, I believe Jonathan, it's up to Jonathan or you guys to close the room if it's quiet. I believe everybody else checked out. Joseph was speaking with you earlier.
Yeah, I'll give it just a minute, see if JB pops back in, and if not, I'll go ahead and shut it down.
Thanks so much.
Might have fell asleep.